It's Olivia here. So I'm just going to go through what I've been doing this Sprint Zero and catch you up on my work and um, my goals for this next quarter. So the first thing I did was clone down the front end and the server of the Hs4X app just to make sure I have the most updated version and everything's working smoothly there. There's some code that we worked on last quarter. There's not too much, but it was a pretty functional application to test that we ran a user study on, so it's a good place to start. So my Sprint Zero looks a little something like this. Basically, a lot of it is refamiliarizing myself with Hs4X and the definitions that we agreed upon last quarter. I just want to understand the current status of the project, make sure I'm up to date on everything, and have a good sense of where the project is. So a lot of that was like reading the URG proposal and the Polaris we created, the research canvas, which was our final deliverable, the Hs4X papers, which might have been a little bit of overkill, but was good to read again. And also Hs4X's final notes for us last quarter, which provided some insight. So in my design log, I wrote down some thoughts from his comments, and which this helped me kind of think about what I want to work on this quarter. So I think the most interesting part that was in Hs4X's notes is this opportunistic narrative, basically designing narratives on the fly. Perhaps I haven't really we haven't put a lot of thought into design-wise how it would work, and computationally I have no clue how it would work. So I think that's really interesting because it's very unique to Hs4X, and it would work by you leveraging previously collected data in some way, and I just think it would be a very interesting part of the project. I think it's pretty vital to Hs4X. So that's something I'm interested in pursuing. Also, a lot of his comments were about, testing the validity of our assumptions. So, is deviating a user's route something that they would actually like? I'm not entirely sure this wasn't covered by some of the testing in 4X, but I think having habit sourcing play into this might require me testing this assumption again. So there are a lot of things that I still need to test. So that brings me to one of the big goals for this quarter, which is running a big formal study, something similar to what we described in the URG, just to test the feasibility of the tech design when it's more fleshed out, and to test, in particular, the opportunity manager functionality, which right now is pretty basic, but could be vastly improved, and test Hs4X in a more formal way, because I think we need a lot more information still. In terms of the tech design, that's something that I think I need to focus on a lot this quarter. Our tech design currently is very basic, but this is a good outline, and all we've really put into action here is the data streamer, which is streaming data and putting it into basically a text file as our database. And our opportunity manager is very simple. It basically just finds the closest interaction and sends that to the user. It's very inefficient, and I think it could be improved dramatically. The push notification listener and the action verifier are simply just design ideas currently. Like, they're not put into action at all. So that's also something I might want to pursue. And so you can see here I put down some thoughts about the tech design stuff that I have to work on. And so Sprint Zero, I also spent some time making sure I understand the tools that we're using, because I think I have a lot to work on still in terms of technical skills. So Heroku, I was using it last quarter, but I didn't really understand what it was doing. So I wrote some notes down about that, and I've just started writing notes down about MongoDB, because I would like to move over our database from a text file to an actual database tool, which will help me hopefully scaffold data in some way so that we can really get the 4X component of Hs4X, make that functional and actually test the feasibility of 4X with habit sourcing, the habit sourcing context. So I think that will be really important. And then I said here that I think I should focus more on the opportunity manager and the experience generation aspect of Hs4X because I personally find that to be really interesting. And that's also something that Houchi pointed out. And I think it's very unique to Hs4X. It's what kind of sets it apart from just habit sourcing or just 4X. This generation of new narratives that make the app actually fun to use and make users want to interact with it and actually build habits. And also the way that we could leverage data, previously collected data, would be, I think, really novel and interesting to work on. So those are some of my thoughts. I have SIG tomorrow, so I will discuss them with my SIG and hopefully get some feedback and have a good quarter. Thanks.